We here at the Sports History Network proudly partner with 26 podcasts, all revolving around the history of sports. But did you know that many of our hosts were sports history authors way before they started their shows? It's true. We've got Joe Ziemba, host of When Football Was Football, Joe Zagurski, host of Pro Football in the 1970s, Mark Morthier, host of Yesterday's Sports, Tommy Phillips, host of Lombardi Memories, and Scott Adamson, co-host of From the 55-Yard Line. All these authors have many books for you to choose from. To check them out, go to our website at sportshistorynetwork.com/sportshistorybooks. Pick up your copy today. Soundtrack provided by Kevin MacLeod of filmmusic.io.
Our Sports Break edition today explores a story where there may have been a player that broke the color barrier of the MLB in the 19th century, and the first call of the Yankees, along with a pitching gem. These are just a few of the stories of team sports from June 21st coming up. Now it's time to take a sports break, a look at sports history on a daily basis. Hello, my friends of sports history. This is Darren Hayes of the Sports Jersey Dispatch podcast. Welcome once again to a sports break for this date of June 21st. And speaking of the date in the calendar, I have a breaking news report that the calendar may just be in trouble because I hear its days are numbered. Well, I had to throw that one in there. I heard that over a barbecue this weekend, and I find it kind of chuckling. My timing might not have been as good as the person that told it, but it's funny nonetheless. Now, we're going to talk a little bit of sports history because it's made every day of the year, and we're going to try to look for some of these great stories of team sports, especially in the Americas, and going to call out some players by jersey number where we can. Now, our numbers for today, for this June 21st episode, are the numbers 4, 5, and 14. We're going to start off in the 19th century, though. June 21st, 1879, infielder William White played as a substitute in one game for the team called the Providence Grays. And he might just have become the first African-American to play in the MLB. You see, White's light complexion gave onlookers the belief that he was a Caucasian, but in fact, he was a man of color. According to an article on Slate.com, William Edward White was born in 1860 to parents who were a Georgia businessman and one of his slaves. And she was of a mixed race herself. Very interesting story on Mr. William White. Now, June 21st, 1904, the Boston Herald reported a story of a Red Sox trade, and it said, quote, Doherty as a Yankee, unquote. Well, that may sound kind of familiar to us today, but in fact, it was the first time and first known reference to any New York baseball club known as the Yankees. Remember, 1904 this is. This is the franchise that formally became known as the Yankees 11 years later in 1913. June 21st, 1916, Boston Red Sox pitcher Rube Foster tossed a no-hit masterpiece against the New York Yankees for a 2-0 victory at Fenway Park. And on June 21st, 1938, baseball Pinky Higgins, third baseman of the Boston Red Sox, who wore number 5 that day, knocked out his 12th straight hit. The Red Sox were visiting the Detroit Tigers in a twin bill in which they split the games. Now, Frank Pinky Higgins, 8 hits in the first game led to an 8-3 victory for Boston. And he went 4 for 4 in the second game, keeping that perfect slate for the day. And we have a great article on Pinky Higgins and that fantastic game from the June 22nd, 1938 edition of the Atlanta Constitution, Atlanta, Georgia. Compliments of newspapers.com. There in all its glory on the jerseydispatch.com article that dates to this June 21st. Make sure you check that out. Now, June 21st, 1939, the New York Yankees announced that number 4, Lou Gehrig, would be retiring from baseball after doctors revealed he had amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, better known today as Lou Gehrig's disease. Now, Gehrig died on June 2nd, 1941, just days before his 38th birthday. What a sad day in New York and in the world there when you had a sports legend suffering from such a crippling disease. And we pray for those that have that today and hope that a cure is very imminent to help cure this. Now, June 21st, 1950, New York Yankee Joe DiMaggio hit a milestone almost literally as he reached his 2000th hit in the MLB as the Yankees defeated the Cleveland Indians on that day 8-2 in Cleveland. And on June 21st, 1964, Philadelphia Phillies pitcher Jim Bunning, number 14 on your roster, threw a perfect game from the mound as the Philadelphia Phillies beat the New York Mets 6-0 on Father's Day at Shea Stadium. We're sure glad that you could join us here for another sports break and enjoyed a little bit of history and fun with us today with some great stories from the past. Hope you'll do it each and every day here on Sports Break on the Sports Jersey Dispatch. Till tomorrow, everybody, have a great Sports History Day. This penalty kill is almost over. I got to get back out on the ice. But thanks again for joining us for another great edition of Sports Jersey Dispatch Podcast. We'll see you tomorrow. We invite you to check out our websites, jerseydispatch.com and pigskindispatch.com. Not only see the daily sports history, but to experience the preservation of great events and people that play the games. Find us on Pigskin Dispatch. It's also on social media outlets of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel. You get all your daily sports history. Pigskin Dispatch is happy to be associated with the Sports History Network, the sports headquarters of yesteryear, found at sportshistorynetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
It was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction, in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so
retro
it was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
flowers.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, sports writer. Coming soon.